by the Western countries, regrettably joined by Australia, which we believe to be unfair.
Russian revenge? Their foreign minister has accused the U.S. of a colossal blackmail. We'll explain. Plus, dangerous bus stop. Deputies search for a hit-and-run driver while a mother pushes for a new bus stop. And heads up, debris from China's wayward space station could land somewhere in the U.S. as soon as today. Your Suncoast News starts right now.
You're watching ABC 7 News at noon.
Good afternoon, I'm Ray Collins. Scott is off this noon. Our top story, Russia is vowing retaliation after the expulsion of diplomats here and around the world. ABC's Serena Marshall has the latest.
It's the largest expulsion of Russian diplomats from the U.S. in history. 60 Russians forced to leave. A Russian consulate in Seattle shuttered. Punishment for Russia's alleged poisoning of a former Russian spy and his daughter with a nerve agent on British soil.
Together we have sent a message that we will not tolerate Russia's continued attempts to flout international law and undermine our values.
Worldwide, more than 100 Russian diplomats sent home, a coordinated campaign by 24 countries. Russia's foreign ministry called the global removal provocative and that they had nothing to do with the poisoning and warned they will respond. Their embassy in D.C. mocked the move, posting this Twitter poll asking followers to vote on which U.S. consulate they should shutter. The Trump administration claimed 12 of those kicked out were operating under the guise of diplomacy.
By limiting the ability of Russia to spy on Americans and conduct covert activities that threaten America's national security.
It's the toughest action against the Kremlin to date, and the move highlights the disparity between the administration's words and actions. 2 weeks ago, the president said this on the poisoning.
It certainly looks like the Russians were behind it.
But last week avoided condemning Vladimir Putin for the attack when he called to praise him for winning re-election.
We will probably get together in the not too distant future.
The White House says there is no discrepancy, that the president wants to work with Russia, but sometimes their actions don't allow it. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Washington.
Other news now, 2 states are suing over a reinstated question that will appear in the 2020 census. The Commerce Department will include a citizenship question. The census is meant to count total population, not just U.S. citizens, informing decisions on things like federal funding and the congressional districts. Critics of the move believe the question will mean less federal funding for states with high immigration populations. California and New York have since filed suit. New at noon, Louisiana's Attorney General says no criminal charges will be filed against the 2 Baton Rouge police officers involved in the wrongful death lawsuit involving Alton Sterling. It comes nearly 2 years after Sterling was shot and killed by Baton Rouge officers while they held him on the ground. Federal prosecutors handed the case to the state last summer after they found there wasn't enough evidence to warrant civil rights charges against the officers. Well, despite the federal findings, Sterling's 5 children filed a wrongful death lawsuit. Happening today, Governor Rick Scott will sign a bill that expands worker compensation benefits for first responders with post-traumatic stress disorder. It'll provide both medical and paid leave for firefighters, police officers, and EMTs who meet certain criteria. Governor Scott will sign the bill into law at the Tampa Firefighters Museum at 2 p.m. He'll be joined by Attorney General Pam Bondi and Chief Financial Officer of the state, Jimmy Patronis. And Governor Scott is also tweeting about a big announcement coming on April 9th. There's heavy speculation he'll launch a bid for the Senate to challenge longtime Democratic Senator Bill Nelson. Scott's first run for office was for governor back in 2010. He was reelected in 2014. He can't run again due to term limits. Scott says he'll make the announcement on Facebook Live. Here on the Suncoast, an exciting new partnership announced this morning where the company Alorica is teamed up with the nonprofit Veterans Military Project to talk about raising awareness on PTSD. The founder of the Military Veterans Project, Melissa Jarboe, lost her husband 6 years ago due to complications after he was shot in the line of duty in Afghanistan. She says this partnership will help local veterans get the help they need to continue to succeed.
So some of these veterans have been given opiates, sleep medication, a slew of narcotics. And what we're doing at the Military Veteran Project is saying, let us look at your blood first and see your chemicals in your body. Let us look at your brain. Let us find a cure and help you get to where you need to be to move on and move forward.
Alorica says over 100 full-time positions are now up for grabs with a focus on getting veterans employment on the Suncoast. For the latest on this story and breaking news and the forecast, check out our new app. It's under WWSB or under My Suncoast. Well, this may sound unnerving, but China's out-of-control space station is about to fall from the sky and is expected to plummet to Earth any day now. What went up in 2011 is about to come down in a blizzard of fiery debris. The Chinese lost contact with the bus-sized space station 2 years ago. Since then, it's been an 8.5-ton time bomb destined to crash back to Earth from its decaying orbit about 80 miles up. Much of it will burn up, but not all of it. And where it lands is anyone's guess. Scientists say it's likely to land somewhere between California and New Jersey. Kind of a wide swath, like a nor'easter coming through.
Yeah, exactly.
That swath.
I guess it's kind of hard to figure out exactly where it's going to land, how it's going to break up, what it's going to do.
Why the U.S. versus someplace in Europe?
Well, I think they got that part nailed down in terms of the trajectory and the eventual decrease in orbit and all that. But exactly where it's a little hard.
Any day now, right?
I guess they say about 2 or 3 days before it actually makes impact. If it does make impact, they'll be able to kind of narrow it down a little bit. Didn't the American space station have that same problem the first time when the original one came down? I think they were worried that it would overland it. Ended up in the water.
I wore a helmet for a week.
Yeah, everybody will be going like this. Right. It's true. Nice day today, a lot of blue sky out there, but boy, as we were talking about all morning long, windy. We've had some 30-mile-an-hour gusts out there this morning, and that is going to be the case throughout the afternoon. I think those winds will be up. Small craft should exercise some caution along our area waterways. It is dry, though, across the peninsula. Blue sky out there and a lot of sunshine. It's a nice day, low relative humidity. Feels pretty nice, actually, as you head out the door. There's a large-scale storm system back to the west. Could be a weekend weather maker for us. We'll be talking about that in a few minutes. Otherwise, temperatures across the region generally running kind of warm. I think we're heading toward breaking the 80-degree mark again today. I don't think we'll be quite as warm as we were yesterday. Yesterday was really abnormally warm, but it still will be a kind of a nice afternoon with temperatures cracking the 80 mark. We'll be in the low 80s for a daytime high, and then as we head into the afternoon and into the evening hours, we'll start dipping down into the 70s. Overnight, we'll probably be in the lower 60s to upper 50s when you wake up tomorrow morning. Midnight temperature about 66. Of the complete forecast for you in a second, Ray.
Thank you, John. A family in South Sarasota County wants a new school bus stop. The Whitehead family says their 11-year-old son was recently hit by a car just down the road from the bus stop at Manasota Beach Road and Venesota Road. He suffered minor injuries, and his mother, Melissa, says this is not the most ideal place for a bus stop.
I think they need to move it somewhere else. I don't think it needs to be after a blind curve, the first road after a blind curve where people are going so fast.
I was riding home and a person came up behind me and hit my wheel and then hit my hip and flew off basically. And when it hit my hip, I went head over heels into a ditch.
Well, police are still looking for that hit-and-run driver. The school district says it will also look into the possible bus stop change. Happening today, you can learn more about plans to add another roundabout in Sarasota, this time to a very busy intersection. The State Department of Transportation wants to build a rotary at US 41 and Gulfstream Avenue by the Ringling Causeway. They're going to share plans later this afternoon from 5 to 7 at the Municipal Auditorium, which is next to the Van Wezel. This is the latest in a series of roundabouts within the city of Sarasota. A new state program will help seniors get the best deal for rides to the doctor. The program is called Find a Ride Florida, and it allows consumers to view providers, costs, and hours, and then book the best ride. Transportation officials in Tallahassee work with the University of Florida in Gainesville to launch this program. For more information, go to findarideflorida.org. Still to come on your Suncoast News. As we all know, allergy season is in full swing right now. Pollen count is high right now. We'll have some tips for allergy sufferers on the way. And a little girl in China gets trapped between two walls. More on her dramatic rescue next.
Stay connected to your clients and new customers using ABC7 Digital Media Services. Our team of professionals provide a wide array of digital services to help you get the most out of your website. We specialize in building and helping you maintain the most effective digital solutions for your business. It's vital that your online presence stands out, so our experts will equip you with the best resources available. Trust ABC7 Digital Media Services to give you the right tools to grow your business.
Need more space in your place? The More Space Place can help. With Murphy beds that disappear to reveal a home office, living room, or den. Custom closets with designated areas for your shoes, bags, wardrobe, and accessories. Custom-built entertainment centers, garage storage systems, and more. The More Space Place has 3 showrooms next to Sonny's on US 41 South in Sarasota, on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard just south of State Route 64 in Bradenton, and on Tamiami Trail next to Panera Bread in Port Charlotte. Put more space in your place at the More Space Place.
Florida Studio Theater presents Blue Suede Shoes, celebrating the birth of rock and roll. From the father of rock and roll, Chuck Berry, to the king himself, Elvis Presley, this musical review features such great hits as Rock Around the Clock, Mustang Sally, Johnny B. Good, and of course, Blue Suede Shoes. Critics are calling Blue Suede Shoes a burst of rock history, dynamic and high voltage. Audiences are calling it phenomenal. Blue Suede Shoes has been held over by popular demand. Tickets can be purchased by calling 941-366-9000 or by visiting floridastudiotheater.org.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
To be able to just get my son here and not think about how we will pay for it, it just takes so much weight off of my family. St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device. Now your ABC7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Oh, so we've gotten some very nice pictures of sunsets yesterday coming in from Lido Beach. Thank you, Barbara. This is a beautiful shot of the setting sun and a few clouds around. I think tomorrow, or tonight rather, and tomorrow actually, I think we'll have a fewer clouds around in the picture as high pressure builds in. The North Jetty, Cindy Desmond, a frequent contributor to our viewer photos, sent this one in as well. Nice shot there, Pelican, right there in the foreground. Great stuff. Siesta Key, Richard, thank you very much. Again, we had a few clouds around yesterday, but all in all, it was a very tranquil afternoon. And in Venice, Darlene, thank you so much for sending that one in as well. We're at 78 degrees right now. Dew point values are low, feeling very comfortable. Look at that, a 56-degree dew point. Now that is nice. East wind, though, breezy. We talked about this yesterday and this morning, how the winds were going to be up, and I think they'll probably be up tomorrow as well. Probably not as strong as they are today, but still, they will be slightly elevated. Today, we have a 22-mile-an-hour sustained wind, and we've had some gusts over the last couple of hours up to 30 or better. So impressive wind flow around here. 76 degrees in Parrish, Bradenton, Myakka. Lakewood Ranch coming in at 75. We have 78, as I mentioned, here in Sarasota, 76 degrees in Venice, 75 in Inglewood, 80 now in Punta Gorda, and 74 degrees Longboat Key. So we are headed to another warm day today. By 3 p.m., I think we will have certainly hit the 80-degree mark, no doubt about that. In fact, I think next hour we'll probably do that. As we head into the 7 o'clock hour or so, our temperatures will drop back down into the 70s, and then as we head into the overnight, I think you'll wake up tomorrow morning with a temperature of about 59 degrees. So it'll be a cooler night tonight, even though we started off a little warmer today. I think our afternoon temperature will probably be a little bit cooler than it was yesterday. And then over the next several days, we'll stay warm and comfortable with that easterly wind continuing to flow. The reason that the winds are so high today is because this high pressure ridge is building in behind the backdoor cold front that came through yesterday and brought that little bit of cloud cover around. That high now building in across the state of Florida is really going to prevent any rain showers from happening. That's not going to occur. Air way too dry aloft to support rain showers. There's our next frontal boundary approaching us. It comes our way probably by Friday, late in the afternoon or into the evening hours, I think, and that will probably linger for a day or so because the frontal boundary is just going to stall out and eventually wash away. By actually Sunday, I think we'll probably see that front having just basically washed out, leaving only perhaps an inland shower or two for Easter Sunday. There's our frontal boundary right now, kind of meandering ever so slowly, working its way to the east. It's nearly stationary, but not quite. A couple of areas of low pressure rippling along it. That's creating the potential for some severe weather today in parts of Texas, and even on up into Oklahoma. And then that whole low pressure area moves off to the north and to the east. High pressure stays with us with that easterly wind flow, bringing us those strong winds. As I mentioned, small craft should exercise caution. East wind coming in at about 15, but gusts much higher than that. Should be a good day for sailing, I would think. It'll get some speed and some wind under your hat. 2 to 3 foot seas, moderate chop on bay and inland waters. And the forecast for today calls for some pretty nice conditions. Oh, well, I'll show you that next time. That was our tidal information. 83 degree our temperature today, tomorrow probably about 81. Thursday, another beautiful day. Maybe the humidity a little bit higher on Thursday. Friday, I think you'll notice the humidity a little bit more. A few more clouds around, chance of showers. That chance lingers into Saturday. And then Easter Sunday looks absolutely beautiful. Daytime high of about 81. And that fair weather carries into the beginning of next work week. Back to you, Ray.
Thank you, John. On to Health Smart now. The pollen count is high today, as John has said, and that can mean a tough time for fellow allergy sufferers. Runny nose, sneezing, itchy eyes. Physicians recommend taking over-the-counter medications, keeping your windows closed and put on the air conditioner, and limit exposure to the outdoors if at all possible.
And of course, you know, if these over-the-counter medications are not working for you, there is help out there, and maybe perhaps you could see an allergy specialist to get some more answers.
Thank you. The top allergens are oak, juniper, and elm. Well, you've heard many times the leading cause of death is heart disease, and the leading factor is high cholesterol. ABC's Serena Marshall has a story.
Take 40,000 adults, check their blood cholesterol, and scratch your head. According to the CDC, who looked at data from the National Health and Nutrition Survey of health measurements and behaviors, even if they know their cholesterol level is too high and have been prescribed drugs to help lower them, just over half of the adults with high cholesterol are actually taking them. In general, this new study concludes adults who have a genetic history of very high cholesterol levels are more likely to have a cholesterol screening. Of the two forms of blood circulating cholesterol, it's low density that is dangerous for cardiovascular health. Drugs designed to lower that LDL cholesterol are in wide use, and prescription rates for them have increased over the years. But in those with the most severe forms of high cholesterol, only a third take their meds. Those at highest risk for undertreatment, younger adults and those without enough healthcare coverage. Low cholesterol, exercise, and a healthy diet are the basics for heart health and are all things we can take action on for a longer, more healthy life. With this Medical Minute, I'm Serena Marshall, ABC News.
All right, it is finally time for lunch. Chef Eddie is here from Apollonia Grill in Cooper Creek. And Chef, what's on the menu today?
Hi, Ray. So today we'll do a very light and healthy seafood salad.
Sounds good. Love that. More news on the way.
Get to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota for big savings during the spring sales event and shop the area's largest selection of 7-passenger vehicles. Get KBB's 2017 Best Buy Award overall winner, the Chrysler Pacifica, for just $23,999. Or get off-road capability with the comfort of an SUV in your new Jeep Compass for just $17,999. Drive away in a new Dodge Journey for as little as $16,999. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.
A dramatic rescue in China involving a 6-year-old girl trapped between two walls. The girl was playing when she slipped and fell in that gap right there between her home and her neighbor's home, only 8 inches wide. 2 firefighters squeezed into that space as far as they could and managed to reach down and gently pull her out. It took about 20 minutes and she was not injured. An Uber driver in San Francisco made a wrong turn, and there's the result. This was clearly not on the GPS. A tow truck tried to pull the car off the staircase, but the cable broke. The car slid down and crashed into a trash can and then a fire hydrant. Several passengers were inside, but none were injured. All right, let's get back to the kitchen right now. John is with Chef Eddie and talking about a nice seafood salad, guys.
Chef Eddie's already busy at work here.
Yes.
Good to see you, Eddie. Always a pleasure.
You. Thank you.
What you making up for us today? Seafood salad?
We're doing a seafood salad. That's right.
Okay.
So this is similar to like a ceviche style. So you know, you kind of let the acid, the lemon or the vinegar cook the seafood. But at the restaurant, we'd like to take an extra step and just sort of parboil everything a little bit for about 45 seconds to a minute.
Okay.
That sort of, you know, protects the, you know, the seafood for just killing any bacteria or any germs that, you know, naturally the seafood has.
Okay.
So I already started some boiling water right here. I have some calamari working. I have some shrimp and some scallop right here on my hand.
Nice.
So what you do is you heat up a boiling water, a little bit of salt in it just to give it a nice flavor, and then you just let the water boil and then dump in the calamari separate, the shrimp separate, and the scallops separate. I would say the shrimp and the scallops would take about a minute to a minute and a half, and then the calamari about 45 seconds because it cooks very fast.
Not long at all.
No, not long at all.
Okay.
And I have a slotted spoon here. What's happening over here? There we go. This is probably not the perfect size for it, but I think it will work. And then once you take all the seafood out of the boiling water, you want to chill this down. Obviously, you want to stop the cooking.
Okay.
So, and I'm going to skip that test right here, or I'm going to skip that step right now because of obviously being on TV.
Time, right?
Yep, time. So, and then we're just going to add some vegetables. We're going to start with some Greek olives. The brine in it goes really well with seafood.
Sure.
We have some roasted peppers, and it gives it a nice color and a little bit of smoky flavor from the smoked peppers. We got some onions or shallots. Red onions work very good. A little bit of garlic. You want the garlic finely minced, almost a paste like, it'd be perfect. Salt, pepper, of course, lemon, and a little bit of red wine vinegar. So we're going to season that with nice salt and pepper. If you don't like olives, you could use capers or caper berries. Those work really good. And we have some fresh dill that obviously goes very well with seafood, or mint, or really any kind of fresh herbs that you prefer. Like basil would work very good here too. Sage as well too. So I'm going to just chop this
Dill
down.
smells so good when it's in a seafood salad.
Yeah, lemon and dill, it's a classic flavor there.
It's just fabulous.
That's right. Okay, now I'm just going to add some really good extra virgin olive oil. So just coat those up. Obviously, seafood does not have fat, so you want to add fat to seafood to taste good. Otherwise, it'll be sort of dry and just steamed like. So, and we'll mix this up very good.
Is this on your menu at the restaurant?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, you keep this on the menu?
Yeah, we do. It's actually one of the most requested recipes. That's why I brought it in today. People really want to know how we make it. So there we go.
And as Ray asked you just a little bit ago, it is gluten-free, which
it is gluten-free.
Very popular with folks
today. It is very
today.
healthy, very light. I'm not a nutritionist, but I would say this is below 300 calories, you know, so this seafood salad. So it's a very, very light.
Yeah.
The dressing, as you saw, is just olive oil,
so good.
a little bit of lemon juice, and a little bit of red wine vinegar. Now, we let this marinate a little bit, so it's cooking finishing cooking that seafood.
How long do you usually let that marinate?
About an hour to 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
We make this fresh every day before our shift, and sometimes we do run out, so just because of that. But it's an easy salad to make, so you can make it pretty quick. So we just added some red wine vinegar, and I like the acidity on the red wine vinegar. It's more pungent, and the combination of lemon and red wine just goes really well with it.
Oh, I wish you could just smell this. Smells so good.
Okay, just want to make sure I got everything. We could add a little bit more olives to that, or and then we could start to serve it. So the way you serve this, you could serve it with on top of a salad. Here I'm serving it with some romaine hearts, and you could take this to the beach, or you can take it to serve it as an appetizer to a party. It's got a beautiful presentation like this on a large platter, and it works really good.
Oh, looks fantastic. The recipe for it is on our website, mysoncoast.com. Click on the dining button. It'll take you right there, along with Eddie's recipe and video instructions for preparing it. Smells great, looks good. Can't wait for a fork. That's what I say.
Thank you, John.
Eddie, thanks so very much. Appreciate it. The Apollonia Grill. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Motor Trend said the new Alfa Romeo Giulia is hands down the best sports sedan you can buy today. And named it the 2018 Motor Trend Car of the Year. Rediscover your passion for driving at Sunset Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Everything all right? Actually, you know how Tom had knee surgery? Sure. We found out Brad's been taking his painkillers. And it turns out he's been doing it for a while.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Don't allow your weight to threaten your health or control your future. Excess weight or obesity can cause emotional and physical health risks. But you can take control. The Your Weight Matters campaign offers free resources and tips to help you measure and understand your weight. Take the Your Weight Matters Challenge. The free toolkit prepares you to speak with a healthcare provider about your weight. Your weight does matter. Take the challenge and take control today.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
I'm Deshauna Barber. In 2016, I was proud to win the title of Miss USA. What makes me just as proud is my service in the U.S. military. In the service, a soldier gains skills and learns values like discipline and leadership. That makes them an asset to any business that hires them. If you're an employer, on behalf of Coalition to Salute America's Heroes, remember to hire smart and bet on a vet. Visit saluteheroes.org or call this number to learn more.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Letting my friends online know I was quitting kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it. You can too.
For free help, visit cdc.gov/tips.
When evaluating the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, Car and Driver magazine said every crossover should be this good to drive. we agree. Rediscover your passion for driving at Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Coming up, how low can you go? Charges for 2 suspected vandals around Parkland High School in Broward County. Plus, Manatee County first responders taking a close look at policies after a man's body was left on the road for hours while his widow scrambled to find a funeral home. And you recognize this Walmart shopper? Northport police say he tried to leave with hundreds of dollars worth of groceries. Those stories in the forecast this half hour on your News at Noon.
You're watching ABC 7 News at 12:30.
Our top story at 12:30, a defamation lawsuit may be next in the war of words between adult film actress Stormy Daniels and the president's attorney. ABC's Tara Palmieri has the latest.
Days after breaking her silence on 60 Minutes, adult film actress Stormy Daniels has amended her lawsuit, adding new claims. Daniels, whose real name is Stephanie Clifford, is accusing President Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, of defamation for implying that she's been lying. She's also calling the $130,000 payment from Cohen just days before the election in exchange for her silence an illegal campaign contribution. The allegation has already been made in a complaint filed by a watchdog group with the Federal Election Commission. It alleges campaign finance violations in connection with that payment. The White House claims the president was unaware of Cohen's deal.
I can say categorically that obviously White House didn't engage in any wrongdoing.
According to the Washington Post, the president was one of the 20 million people who tuned in for that interview. The White House swiftly casting doubt on her claims, noting she previously released statements denying an affair.
The president strongly, clearly, and has consistently denied these underlying claims, and the only person who's been inconsistent is the one making the claims.
Her attorney, Michael Avenatti, claiming that they have more evidence of the affair.
We have a litany of more evidence in this case, and it's going to be disclosed, and it's going to be laid bare for the American public.
Instead of selling her story to the press, Daniel said she agreed to the hush agreement because she was worried about her safety.
A guy walked up on me and said to me, "Leave Trump alone, forget the story." And then he leaned around and looked at my daughter and said, "It's a beautiful little girl. It'd be a shame if something happened to her mom." And then he was gone.
The president, never one to pull his punches, has yet to deny her claims. He has allegedly denied it in private to those who have quoted him. Tara Palmieri, ABC News, Washington.
Thanks, but no thanks. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is snubbing an invitation to Parliament. The British House of Commons asked the billionaire to fly to London and face questions about the way the social media giant handles private user data. Instead, Facebook is offering up the chief tech officer and the chief product officer. The data privacy controversy began earlier this month when a data firm with ties to Donald Trump's campaign reportedly accessed information from about 50 million Facebook users without the user's knowledge. New developments out of Michigan, where police arrested a former Michigan State University dean and boss of Larry Nassar. Nassar, of course, is the former doctor for USA Gymnastics, who was sentenced to a lengthy prison term after admitting to abusing young girls for more than 2 decades. So now William Strample will be arraigned later today with a felony and misdemeanors. No word yet on the nature of those charges. A Sarasota woman is making national headlines for her lawsuit against the New Orleans Saints. Bailey Davis is a former New Orleans Saints cheerleader. She filed a federal workplace discrimination complaint against the football team, alleging they have a drastically different set of rules for players and cheerleaders. Davis says she just wants the women, including the cheerleaders, to be treated the same as everyone else.
Equal rules for the players and cheerleaders. I want to be treated like a professional athlete, just like the professional football players.
The Saints said in a statement that the team did not discriminate against Davis because of her gender. We'll investigate details of the claim and show you the picture that Davis said got her fired. That's tonight at 11 right here on ABC 7. Sunny but windy out there, John.
Yeah, it is windy. We've had some gusts of 30 miles an hour, consistent gusts over the course of the last 3 hours or so. So it is definitely a windy afternoon. In fact, we've had some tropical storms that have brushed by us that haven't given us this much wind. So
wow,
yeah, it is. It's kind of a breezy day today. Feels kind of nice if you ask me, though. But anyway, we're looking at Lakewood Ranch webcam here and put it into motion. And remember yesterday we filled the sky with clouds during the afternoon, but really, we're not seeing that so much today, just a few isolated clouds from time to time. Really, it's very quiet across the entire peninsula. Radar not picking up a drop of rain anywhere compared to yesterday when we had a few scattered showers. Moving into inland areas, we just don't see that today. The air is way too dry for that. Our dew points have fallen. The air aloft is dry as well. And that big ridge of high pressure is building, keeping the deep south and eastern seaboard pretty quiet. We do have an area of low pressure moving into parts of Pennsylvania, producing some pretty chilly temperatures there. You can see that area of pink. That is some freezing rain. Also down to the south, we're seeing some pretty big thunderstorm activity now moving through parts of the plain states. For us, very quiet conditions. 78 degrees in Sarasota, 76 in Lakewood Ranch, 77 in Bradenton. That's pretty standard everywhere. Temperatures running about the same as they were 24 hours ago. We started off the morning much warmer, but we're kind of averaging it out right now to where I think we'll probably end up the day a little bit on the cooler side, actually, compared to yesterday. 81 degrees by, I'd say, 3 p.m. or so. We'll have an evening temperature of in the 70s, probably about 75 by 7 p.m. and should be a beautiful sunset. Then as we head into the overnight hours, temperatures will fall first into the 60s, and when you wake up tomorrow morning, they'll probably be in the upper 50s. So a cool, crisp night in store as well. Back to you, Ray.
Thank you, John. 2 people in Broward County are facing charges for allegedly stealing mementos from a Parkland High School memorial. Reporter Sheldon Fox says the story.
These 2 are locked up and in the Broward County Jail, accused of pulling off a crime that's as insensitive as it is low.
It is disturbing, very. It's something you wouldn't think of can happen to something like this.
37-year-old Michael Kennedy and 40-year-old Kara O'Neill were arrested Sunday night after witnesses called cops and said they watched the pair rip off the memorial to victims here at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High. Deputies later found items in the couple's car, things like teddy bears, pinwheels and plaques, mementos and tributes to the 17 victims of the high school massacre last month in Parkland. Despite the accusations, Michael Kennedy argued his case in Broward County Bond Court.
Yes, Judge, I believe that the charge document has insufficient facial evidence, and it just doesn't meet the elements, Judge.
The judge wasn't buying his explanation, and so he and his alleged accomplice, O'Neill, are charged with a third-degree felony.
Now, the suspects are being held on $1,000 bonds. If they are released, they'll be ordered to stay away from that school. Strange twist in the Pulse nightclub shooting trial. A federal judge says the revelation that the shooter's father was an FBI informant for years before the attack has little bearing on the trial of his daughter-in-law. The judge rejected a defense motion for a mistrial of Nora Salman. She's on trial on charges of helping her husband plan his mass shooting in Orlando nearly 2 years ago. Salman's lawyers said prosecutors did not disclose that Omar Mateen's father was an FBI informant until halfway through the trial. The judge says the trial isn't about the gunman's father, but rather about his widow. New at noon, the owner of a Kansas City water park will appear in court today in connection with the death of a 10-year-old boy killed on the world's largest water slide. The water park owner, Jeffrey Henry, seen here, faces aggravated battery and child endangerment charges. Little Caleb Schwab was decapitated when his raft went airborne on the water slide in the summer of 2016. The water park will reopen in May. For the latest on this story, breaking news, and the forecast, check out our app. It's under WWSB or under My Suncoast. Caught on camera, a police officer, I should say police in Northport, are trying to find a Walmart shopper who filled his cart and tried to leave without paying. Police say this man had $700 of merchandise in his cart. When he was leaving the store, he was approached, so he ran off, and there he is in action. If you recognize this man, you're asked to contact the Northport Police Department. An incident over a pizza crust may have led to a stabbing outside a Sarasota restaurant. It happened at Francesco's Pizza on Weber Street. Dennis Prito was arrested and charged with 1 count of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. Sheriff deputies say the 21-year-old stabbed another man who he accused of throwing a pizza crust at his fiance's sister. Prito is being held without bond at the Sarasota County Jail. New details on an accident on Manasota Key that sent 2 men to the hospital. The crash happened on Manasota Key Road about 5:45 p.m. last evening. State troopers say a motorcycle was heading south near the Manasota Beach Club. When it crossed into the northbound lane, a truck hit the motorcycle, then it swerved and hit another motorcycle. Both riders now have serious injuries. Happening today, Manatee County officials will talk about their response to a heart attack victim whose body was left on the road under a sheet for hours last month. Public safety officials will review their policy after the incident near Palmasola Marina. An EMS crew left 78-year-old Ty Ross's body on the side of the road. The county told his widow removing the body was her responsibility. Well, the nearby funeral home was busy, and the body remained there for several hours. Also happening today, the city of Venice will discuss a new program to replace backflow preventers. The equipment is used to pump drinking water into homes. The city wants the backflow preventers to be inspected and replaced every 10 years, but there isn't a policy in place to address that today. The Venice utility director will ask the city council for nearly $300,000 to replace the aging preventers there. Still to come on your Suncoast News, would you know a credit card skimmer if you saw one? We'll hear from a victim and get some tips in our consumer segment next.
So Matt told me to meet him at 7 a.m. sharp right here. It is now 7:01 a.m. You think Matt would leave without me? Hey, is Matt here?
Long gone.
Long gone.
Just missed him.
Just missed him.
All done.
Mr. Sparky guarantees they're on time and the repair is free, so chop chop.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Matt, you started without me.
I finished without you, too.
Invest in Kids is a $7.5 million project to build a new Boys and Girls Club in South Manatee County. I'm Caleb Grimes, and I was a club kid. It's where I learned important life lessons, leadership, integrity, responsibility, and baseball. Thousands of kids attend the Boys and Girls Clubs, and after years of use, their club is slowly falling apart. Help us invest in kids. Make your donation today.
Thank you.
We've all heard how military veterans adjusting to the civilian world may have certain issues.
30. 70.
If only everyone had this issue. No matter what challenge they face, Easter Seals is here for America's veterans.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Check out mysuncoast.com/dining, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. Now your ABC7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Yeah, we're closing in on that 80-degree mark, 78 degrees now, but the dew point is just so nice. It's so low at 56 degrees. That's nice. We're not going to see that for a whole lot longer before we start seeing dew points creep back up into the upper 60s to near 70, so enjoy it while we can. Relative humidity 46%. That's great. A lot of sunshine out there today, but a breezy wind. East now at 22. And as I've mentioned over the last couple of hours, we've had gusts in excess of 30. So a significant wind blowing today. Bradenton at 77, Hills Parish, Lamayaca coming in at 77, Arcadia 77, Northport 77, Venice 77, 78 in Sarasota, 76 in Inglewood. And we've cracked the 80-degree mark in Punta Gorda. So we head off today to a daytime temperature that'll be in the low 80s for a high. By the time we hit 3 p.m., we'll be at about 81, 75 by the time we hit 7 p.m., and there'll be full sunshine around during that time. The winds will still be breezy, though, as we head into the evening hours, no doubt about that. And then the overnight, we'll wake up to a temperature of about 59. Here's your hour-by-hour futurecast. Put it into motion. You won't see much in the way of clouds around. Temperatures in the lower 80s, and then by the time we get to 8 p.m. this evening, into the 70s. Again, the winds will be consistently out of the east. There's not going to be much change there. So that continues on during the nighttime hours into the overnight. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, you'll still have a due east wind. That high-pressure ridge remaining in place just to our north. We're on the underbelly of the high, so our winds are directed out of the east. Sky cover overnight tonight will be pretty much non-existent. I think we'll be looking at clear skies and a very nice condition. By the time we get up tomorrow morning, you may have a passing cloud or two, but all in all, I think we're looking at some pretty quiet conditions right straight through the remainder of the week. Wednesday, maybe the moisture returns a little bit. We see a few more clouds as we start to turn our winds a little bit more to the southeast, and that'll kind of set the stage for increasing humidity that you will notice, I think, by the time we get to Thursday. We have quiet conditions on radar locally, and not the case back to the west, though. As I mentioned, a chance of severe weather exists along this frontal boundary, which is basically stalled out with little areas of low pressure rippling along it. Our high-pressure ridge, the dominant weather feature for us, bringing us that easterly wind flow. As those winds shift a little bit more southeast, though, we will return moisture and set the stage possibly for some showers coming our way on Friday. Breezy east wind, lower humidity, full sun, warm conditions, and dry till we get till Friday. Those are the weather highlights for today. Those winds, breezy today, become breezy tomorrow, but less so, and increasingly out of the southeast, drawing back the humidity, and you'll see that reflected in the extended range forecast. So we'll have a daytime temperature today of 83 degrees with an overnight low in the 50s. And then as we start increasing humidity just a little bit, our nighttime lows will also start to increase as well. Daytime highs will hover around the 80-degree mark. When we get to Friday, we'll factor in that chance of a shower or two. Oh, by the way, the nighttime lows are kept higher by the moisture in the air that's increasing because the moisture retains heat. It doesn't give it off as easily as dry air. That's why our nighttime temperatures are warmer. Then as we head into Saturday, I think that frontal boundary causing Friday's rains will linger and bring us again a chance of rain showers on Saturday. Small chances, but they're in the forecast. And then as we get into Easter Sunday, I think that front kind of washes away and we're left with a pretty nice Sunday, Monday as well, with temperatures in the lower 80s. Back to you.
Very nice. Thank you, John. On to consumer news now. Credit card skimmers have turned up everywhere from gas stations to ATMs. But how can you detect a credit card skimmer? Reporter Paige Hagan talked to a victim and has these tips.
It was a close call for this Old National Bank customer over the weekend.
So I pulled up to the ATM to get funds out, and I started to put my card in, and I noticed that it was difficult to put in, which isn't normal.
After a closer look, Scheller says he saw this metal tab glued down on the outside of the car slot.
So I started to mess with the gunk that was on the ATM, and sure enough, it was something that I'd seen in other news about skimmers being on them. So I peeled it up and yanked out the skimmer.
He then called police, and EPD's crime scene unit recovered the device. Officers say these criminals are very opportunistic, often taking advantage of ATMs in parking lots like this one.
Banks aren't the only place that this is happening. Gas stations, another big place to worry about. Police say this should be a part of your daily gas pump routine before you put your card into that machine. They say give it a good yank and you should be able to pull it off with just your hand alone. No tools necessary. But if you're still not sure, take a good look at the keypad. Make sure that there's no little cameras pointing toward it. They're going to be really small, a lot smaller than a typical surveillance camera. And it might be under here or under here. Identity thieves can use your card a lot more effectively if they can use your zip code or PIN number that goes with them.
I've never actually seen one before, and never caught one anyway. Yeah, I'm glad I did, because most people would just overlook it.
Sad but true. That's reporter Paige Hagan in Evansville. Bank officials say they're continually inspecting their ATM networks to help customers avoid skimmers. Well, with summer vacations around the corner, beware of phony home security salesmen. Officials say don't be shy about asking questions about their certifications or call police if they're too aggressive. They say con men often target the elderly, so be vigilant and find out more about a company before hiring them to do work on your home. Home improvement chain Lowe's needs a new leader. The chairman and CEO, Robert Niblock, is retiring after 13 years in the job. Now, profits at Lowe's dropped last month by 16%. The announcement sent shares up after he retired by 5%. Lowe's has 2,400 stores nationwide, including 2 here on the Sun Coast. Red Lobster is turning heads with a new menu offering. The chain is serving lobster and waffles. The lobster is fried and the waffle is made from the same recipe as the restaurant's biscuits, and the whole thing is slathered in maple syrup. So far, reactions have been mixed, shall we say. No thank you. Still to come in your Suncoast News, we'll tell you more about the extreme measures one Fort Myers woman is taking to help save a tree from being chopped down. The story on the way.
Car experts and customers agree there's a lot to love about a new Subaru. Subaru is Kelley Blue Book's 2017 most trusted brand, best overall brand, and lowest 5-year cost to own. And Subaru Outback is an IIHS top safety pick for 10 years running. Now lease the most fuel-efficient vehicle in its class, a new Subaru Outback for just $239 a month. Or get 0% financing with 0 down during the Subaru A Lot to Love event. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
My name is Haley. I have Fragile X syndrome. I work with Chartwells at Einstein's at FAU. I like being up front and interacting with students. The students are very nice and very hungry. Having a job is a big ticket for independence.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard live up to a set of time-honored principles.
I will always place the mission first.
They stand ready to respond to any crisis.
I will never accept defeat.
They serve in their communities as citizens and as soldiers.
I will never quit.
They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
Learn more at NationalGuard.com.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
It's been about a month, and I can honestly say I've seen the change in me. I went from being a depressed girl who didn't want help to this happy, caring girl who loves helping other people. I just really hope that people that went through what I went through get the help that they need, because their story is important and they are loved. Thank you so much for everything.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
One of the most popular shows of the 1990s is making a comeback tonight. Roseanne debuts on ABC7. Our Stephanie Webb has this preview.
And that was the welcome back on the very first day back to set for the cast of Roseanne. After a 21-year break, the crazy Connor family returns to primetime and to ABC. For Roseanne Barr, the star of the series and now executive producer, she says she simply had more to say.
So that was kind of exciting to, think of the things and work with a group of writers to make them happen and say something about the country we live in these times.
I did a sketch with Sarah on her show, The Talk, and it was like we didn't miss a beat, and it really made me nostalgic. And she asked me if I wanted to do the show again. I said, yeah, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
It's always important to have an unconventional family on TV.
Unconventional definitely sums up the Connors, and it's why Gilbert, who returns his daughter Darlene, feels it's important to have a family like the Connors on TV.
that. Most people struggle, most people are quirky, most people are weird. So I think it's always important, and that's what we hope to do, is let people feel like, instead of that's a TV family, let them feel like, oh, that's my family.
And the rest of the family is back, including Aunt Jackie, or Lori Metcalf, who sums up where we find the Connor family today.
Well, obviously, they're still living in the same house, so some things haven't changed at all. But there's new characters on the show because the kids who grew up on the show now have kids of their own. So there's that new round of characters to meet. And it just was always a show led by Roseanne, of course, but about kind of small family issues. And I think that this reboot is following that same path.
Things are about to get scary for Kevin Bacon. He is set to produce and star in a horror thriller called You Should Have Left, about a screenwriter working in a remote house who begins to doubt his senses. The film's being released by Blumhouse. They also had the movies Get Out, and Split. And finally, a Fort Myers woman wanted to save a giant ficus tree, so naturally, she married it. Karen Cooper vowed to honor and protect the big old tree in Snell Family Park in Southwest Florida. No word yet if that'll help save the tree, but she decided, John, to go out on a limb.
Really?
My bark is worse than my bite.
Gosh. Oh, jeez.
Sorry about that.
Holy cow.
Shall we go? Have a great afternoon, folks. See you tomorrow on Good Morning Suncast.